JC. I have officially been venerated as the Virgin Mary and Mary Magdalene of my lineage. This crowning means that I have exceeded my statue in Christ consciousness as divine feminine. If you know anything about Virgin Mary and her being a disciple of Jesus, she is a woman that has infinite wisdom, Christ consciousness, and esoteric teachings, okay? She empowers divine feminine, all these powerful downloads, all these upgrades, ascension, yada, 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 right? And then you have Mary Magdalene, the great womb priestess that understands the channeling from a woman's canal, births all things. It is not to over-sexualize femininity, but it is to empower divine feminine, okay? And not only to empower divine feminine, but it is to break the chains of disempowerment when it comes to feminine and masculine energies, honey. Because when you know that the canal is the channeler of all things, and you understand that that runs deep within the bloodline of the women that you come from, you begin to understand why society and why the world was never set up to protect women and our power. Okay? Mary Magdalene is a before Christ, untamed divine essence. The divine feminine's construct is what has allowed for the world to evolve through her willpower and participation. So there are absolutely no coincidences that while I am inserting this video about the day of Mary Magdalene, which happens to be July 22nd, that July 23rd is the digression of Mercury's retrograde, while Mercury had been retrograde in Cancer for about a month or so. If you don't know, the moon's home zodiac sign is Cancer. And also, if you don't know, Cancer energy connects directly to the mother line of core values, divine femininity, ancestral patterns, and healing, restoration, sovereignty, and enlightenment. When the path of sovereignty is being activated for the divine feminine, she will go through a complete destruction of her old life. And that means that her foremothers, ancestors, mother maidens, spirit guides, and any other feminine energy that is connected to her mother line will also go through this destruction, where all things that had not been allowing for divine feminine to expand will have to be sacrificed. And I am so glad that I finally feel well rested enough to share this with you guys, because this is very important right now, especially when it has a lot to do with the divine feminine Christ consciousness, as well as the sovereign empress. Through this experience, the divine feminine will learn self-discipline, respect, empowerment, and personal power in ways that are going to bring about healing within herself, reconstruct her lineage, as well as pour into her divinity. During the spiritual path to feminine sovereignty, the divine feminine will go through the Sophia stage of her Christ consciousness awakening. The Sophia stage brings about ancient wisdom that cannot be accessed unless you hold the actual activation keys within your bloodline and your blueprint to be able to access. The Sophia stage of the divine feminine pathway will feel a lot like empathic rage, self-destruction, and empathy. This is a profound pathway that deconstructs ancestral patterns, unwires mental blockages, awakens the womb, and enlightens the divine feminine to total awareness and activates wisdom. This wisdom is coming from the ancestral lineage, where things that need to be passed down will be done through DNA activations, not just words, not through materials, and not through teachings. These will be through conscious remembrances, inner child activations, as well as womb awakening communication. When a divine feminine channels things from her womb, she is allowing space for herself to feel all things that her mothers and foremothers went through in order to allow for themselves to integrate into the patriarchal agreement of facilitating the world. Divine Feminine's greatest sacrifice has always been to integrate into the world through partnering with the patriarchy. Divine Feminine knew that she would sacrifice her health, her wealth. She knew that she would be limited. She knew that she would be oppressed, beaten, battered, bruised, and possibly forgotten about. During the Sophia stage of the Divine Feminine, she will be unlocking profound DNA activations and upgrades from her foremothers and ancestral maidens that will push her into the sovereign lane of extracting her power back from all things that had not grown, all things that had self-destructed, and all things that had not allowed for her to release herself from the cocoon of fears. I refer to the cocoon of fears as a mindset, an energy, a sabotaging mechanism, or an entity that suppresses the empowerment of the Divine Feminine, that makes her feel as though she has to strip herself of her truest nature in order to fit in, or to feel safe, or to feel as though she won't be targeted by society standards or appropriation of her divinity. The womb activates, and this is where subconscious patterns, fears, traumas, and suppressed baggage are resurfaced and channeled through the womb for transmutation. These don't always have to be sexual wounds, but these can be constructs of the pain, the suffering, the limitations, the anger, the rage, and the disappointment from the mothers and foremothers that had not been able to utilize these energies. And things get passed down to the Divine Feminine on her templed path. She will be walking with the women in her lineage or other feminine energies that want to partner with her to strengthen and empower her birthright through embodying the identity that has been put together for you through your blueprint long before you got here. The path of sovereignty is an eye-opener. It is the course to elevation. It is the freedom to femininity without chains. It is the ability to banish away generations of pain through self-alliance.